Europe and Ukraine are rejecting what many describe as Vladimir Putin's latest peace deal because, in their view, it is not a peace offer at all but a demand that Kyiv accept the results of invasion as permanent fact. Recent proposals circulating via U.S. brokered frameworks and Moscow's own statements lean heavily toward freezing the war on Russia's terms, asking Ukraine to give up occupied regions, curb its military, and abandon NATO ambitions, while requiring far less from Russia beyond halting further advances. European foreign ministers and EU leaders have pushed back publicly, insisting that Ukrainians and Europeans must be full participants in any settlement and that a just and lasting peace can't be built on capitulation or territorial blackmail. Ukraine's leadership has echoed this line, warning that a deal rewarding Russia's land grabs would only invite another war later, because it would prove that force works. In short, Europe and Ukraine see Putin's bargain as a strategic trap, a pause that locks in Russian gains, gives the Kremlin breathing room, and leaves Ukraine weaker and exposed. This diplomatic refusal is happening alongside a quieter but equally important drama, the growing strain on Russia's wartime economy. Russia has so far avoided a sudden crash by shifting into a militarized growth model, rerouting trade and leaning on capital controls and state-directed spending, but the underlying costs of a long war are piling up. Inflation has remained stubborn, forcing the central bank to keep interest rates extremely high even after several cuts, which makes credit expensive and slows civilian investment. Analysts note that while defense-linked factories boom, much of the private economy stagnates, and firms outside the military supply chain face rising bankruptcy, risk under high borrowing costs and weak consumer demand. At the fiscal level, Russia's budget deficit has widened as war spending stays massive in oil and gas. Revenues fluctuate below some budget assumptions. Independent economic reporting shows the state drawing down reserves and relying more on domestic borrowing to finance the gap. That combination, heavy military outlays, a swelling deficit, shrinking liquid buffers, and high-rate financing, is what drives warnings about Russia going bankrupt. It doesn't mean the Kremlin is about to run out of money overnight. Rather, it points to a dangerous trajectory, where the state becomes increasingly vulnerable to shocks. If energy revenues fall further or sanctions tighten enforcement, Moscow may face harsher choices: cut civilian programs, raise taxes, borrow at even steeper rates, or print money, each of which risks feeding inflation, eroding living standards, and destabilizing the broader economy. This mounting economic pressure helps explain why Putin keeps signaling openness to a settlement that would stop the shooting without surrendering territory.